So last year, November, we had a very big breakthrough on this channel. One of my long, wonderful learner passed her driving test at Bromley after 8 attempts. Now, the video you were watching today is actually her 7th attempt. I totally forgot about this video because after the 6th attempt, we decided, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, there is some evil forces, some bad belle, some juju, everything from the village. Maybe there's someone from the village that has been watching her driving test videos and making sure she doesn't pass and make all these mistakes. So because of that, we decided to take control of everything and keep it away from the eyes of the evil ones that is against her. So we decided we were not going to post her videos again until she passed the test. And lo and behold, she passed on the 8th attempt, and I totally forgot this. So I came across this yesterday and I thought I needed to post it so that maybe someone could learn from it as well, as much as well as the test route. So this 7th attempt you're watching is at West Wickham Driving Test Center, and the date for this test was on the 22nd of April 2024. Test time is at 9:07 in the morning, and the test was a fail. Now, just like every other one she failed before the last one, they were just for silly minor things, just the typical things you might do when you're very anxious, when you're at this point, obviously, even too cautious, too nervous, too everything, because you've done it at this point now 6 times, and this is the 7th. So, I mean, your mind is just everywhere. So the problem here was undue hesitation, which hopefully we'll get to see on the video later on. And the minor faults were as follows. So control steering was 2. We had 1 for clearance, 1 for control moving off, 1 for position, normal stop, 1 for junctions, turning right, and 1 for vehicle checks. And before we go on, I want to say a big thank you and a big shout out to her, of course. I called her up this afternoon, and even though she wasn't feeling so well, she scrambled through her email to get the test result for me so that, we can see exactly what went wrong on the test and we can pinpoint it from the video. So, yep, this is the test starting now, and set we go. So, yep, once again, I'm not going to mention her name yet because we want to keep that until we're going to do a video. I've told her we've got to do 1 year video, and then we can reveal her and she can share her story and maybe give you some inspirations and some inspiring and encouraging words if you're anxious and nervous as well. What you've got to learn from her situation is that she never stopped. The first driving test ever we did was in November 2021, and she passed in November 2024. So 3 years later. So it's a very big lesson to learn. Don't give up, don't stop, don't create that long gap. When you do that, it's only going to take you longer. You're going to forget a lot more, and you never know what could change with the society. The rules could change and all that sort of stuff. So yep, she was persistent, she was consistent, and she wasn't backing down, she wasn't giving up. And today she's passed. It is now a history behind. And when she calls or I call, we just laugh about it. She called me the other day, I saw you on the road, and it was good. So yep, don't forget, don't get broken down. You can do it. Just keep going, keep practicing, and it's gonna happen eventually. Trust me, you can do it. Anything is possible. All you just gotta do is practice and practice and practice, and eventually it's gonna happen. Now, compared to Heather Green Driving Test Center or Driving Test Center route, West Wickham is just very similar to Bromley, where most of the roads are 30 miles per hour. However, you still want to make sure, look out for the signs. Speed can change from road to road. 30 might be on one road and it could be 20 on another road, or the speed could have changed maybe from when this video was done. So make sure you're looking out, but generally the roads here are mostly 30. So you want to keep that in mind. I'm saying this so that learners remember, especially if you're coming from places like Sodok, because I teach a lot around these areas. Learners struggle to adapt to that speed when they move out of the area because they've been used to doing 20, and 20 is so stuck on the mind, so they just set to drive at that same speed they used to driving at, and we're stuck on 20 or 19 or 18. So you've got to refresh your mind, you've got to recalibrate your mind, look on the road, look at the pace at which the traffic is moving, look at the signs, and make sure you're moving. If people are passing you, you've got to ask yourself, what's going on? Why is that happening? Am I too slow, or are they just being too fast and driving over the speed limit? Don't ignore things that happens around you. Ask yourself questions, wonder why things are happening. That way you're not just stuck on one mindset, and you're just zoned out or frozen up in your freezer and just there. So yep. And just like the situation ahead, when you're approaching with restrictions, you want to get yourself closer to the pavement so that way it is easier to deal with the one on the right. Trust me, it is much more difficult trying to fix yourself back to the left compared to doing it to the right. I'll make a short video of this and post it on TikTok when I have the time. And at this mini roundabout ahead is where she failed the driving test. And as you can see, all the oncoming traffic coming from the opposite direction are going straight. So these are your blockers. But she continues to wait. So we keep sitting there waiting for about 6-7 cars before examiner comes at this point to prompt, because it was now causing too many traffic behind. So, and you would think that after six driving test attempt that she would have gone through the whole mini roundabout thing, and of course she has. But this is the problem when you're very anxious. You've done it 6 times now and you're no longer thinking straight. And trust me when I say it, all of the tests have just been for little things, most of it all, like literally. And this is it. That's where we failed the test. So test was failed at that point, and everything else now is just minor fault. So this just to say to you, the driving is actually always been good. It's just a lot of the hesitant and a lot of the holding back. That's really it. So yep, let's continue and pick the minor faults. So here she's coming to do a pull up on the left, and I would assume that this is where she gets the first minor fault, or the one and only minor fault for our position and normal stop. Because if you notice, we've got the white Kia Sportage on our right here, and we've kind of pulled up opposite that Kia Sportage. Now keep in mind, this could also actually be not because she's pulled up opposite the car, but because she's not even close enough to the pavement. Maybe that would have created more space. It can be quite difficult sometimes to know which situation it is exactly, but other than look at what we see on the screen. But from this situation, I think I would actually go for more of the space, because this road is quite wide enough for cars to park next to each other, if you see what I mean. So it is now on you to make sure that you're pulled reasonably enough to the pavement so that you can create more space on the road. And now they are now doing independence driving, so she's now following the sat nav. Okay, so as the learner turns into this road, it looks to me like she has been told to pull up on the left. And where she gets confused here is that she tries to pull up somewhere along this point, and as she pulls up, she sees the cars parked up in the driveway, and she decides to move on again, not to park and block those driveways. But these are actually parking bays. Now this one is close to a junction, and this is where she hits the curb. So she continues up again and goes through the bend. Okay, so we're still going, and I don't know why she hasn't parked in the bay here, but by the time she comes up to this point to stop, she's probably wondering it's too close to the junction. Then she moves on again, and then she eventually stops here. So a lot of confusion. She's confused herself. They're probably overthinking the whole thing, and and just end up creating that situation for herself. But please remember, if the bay is a legal parking bay, even if it's next to a bus stop or is next to a junction, or if it's opposite a junction, that is not your problem. That is not your fault. You're parked in a legal bay, so you will be just fine. So don't confuse yourself. Yes, they are very right next to a driveway and all that, but hey, it's a legal parking bay, so that will be fine on your test. So I believe she got the minor fault for clearance next to this van. Let's watch how close she passes this van. See right there? If the car is that close, then the mirror must be much more closer to the van. So this is why we got that fault there. And right here, as you can see, this would be the vehicle check. So show me question. Now I can see the rear wiper and the front wipers are both going off, and the rear wiper remains on for a few more seconds. So that could have been the unsuccessful one for that one there. So we'll get one minor fault there for the vehicle check. If you have watched the learner's previous test, you would realize that this driving test is actually a very big improvement in terms of our progress. Now, looking at the report, there's obviously no fault at all for appropriate speed. For progress, appropriate speed. And that is clearly evident on the video because we can see she's actually been doing very well with the speed. Now, hesitation at the junctions is no longer there as much as we would normally have it in a previous test. So that is really good. So it's just very sad that she did that huge undue hesitation at the beginning, and that just, spoiled everything. And she would have actually passed on the 7th attempt here. And that's it. So yeah, that was a good attempt, a very, very good effort. And at this junction, it looks like this is where we got the minor fault for junctions turning right. Now we have gotten to the junction. There was an opportunity, but she seemed to have hesitated but moved forward slightly here. And that moving forward puts the bonnet maybe slightly out of the giveaway line if you look at the side mirror here. And then also notice the distance between the giveaway line and the black car that just passed. And that's because the black car had to drive around the bonnet to avoid the learner's car. So this is obviously because of that gap edging forward past the giveaway line. So that would have been the reason we get the minor fault for junctions turning right. So just because the car's gone slightly above the giveaway line. Okay, now this one is big. I don't know if it was that she got confused that the road was straight ahead and later realized the road is here, or that she didn't steer properly. So I'm not so sure now if the examiner gave a control steering fault here, or if the examiner would have given it for part of the turning right minor fault. But I would assume, we'll deal with it as it happens. So that turning right positioning there happened first, which happened while she was at the junction, hence junctions turning right. And then this one would be her control while she was turning, so which is going to be controls at this point. So steering wheel, she didn't steer adequately enough here. Now this is a very lucky one, because seriously, if there was a car at the junction, the examiner wouldn't have watched her go this far. So examiner would have come in at that point, and that would have been a serious fault. So very lucky one there. Now, if you're finding this video helpful and you'd like me to go more around some of the other test route for West Wickham Driving Test Center, then leave a comment below. I just want to see, say how many people would be interested in it. I want to try and start gathering some sort of data before I do videos, because I notice some videos don't do that well and it takes a lot of time into these things, so I wouldn't want to do videos that doesn't really, get much views, so obviously not really helping much people. So if you want me to do more videos on West Wickham, please just put a comment below, just put more videos please, or anything at all, so I can use that as a data for that purpose. Okay, so they're coming into a car park here, and that would be for the maneuver. So they're going to be doing parking here. So let's watch and see which parking they're going to be doing, if it's going to be forward bay or reverse bay parking. So considering that she's coming to do a forward bay parking here, and this is a one-way, remember, pull up more to your right because this is a one-way. So create that space on your left so that when you start to turn left, you'd have enough room and enough space to drive forward and straighten your car. But because she didn't do that properly at the beginning, she's now struggling for space to straighten up. Now, two options here would either be reverse back and fix it in, or if secondly would be, I don't know how much space is there. If there's still enough space, you might be able to squeeze it forward a little bit more, but I wouldn't take that risk. If you see you're getting too close, reverse and then come back forward again. And right there is the learner opening the door to check if she's in properly in front. Now, I always say to my learners, please, if you're not sure, you can't see properly from the mirror, secure the car, open your door, and come out if you have to and check if you're in. So she seemed like she was fine, so she answered the examiner she's done, and you'd notice the examiner opened the door as well to double check. So yep, there's nothing wrong with that. You would rather do that before you answer than you say yes but then you're actually not done. So yep, that was good. All done with that. Luckily there's no fixing needed and they're coming to move off again. And here is another pulling up on the left, but if you notice on the left, you'd see that we have the same exact space as we did previously. The only difference here is that there was no car on the right. So this is showing you evidently that, you know, having a car next to you does change what happens to you. So be very cautious and wary of your positioning when you've got another car right opposite you. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the test. They are now back to the test center. So as you have seen, that unfortunately was a fail right at the beginning. Now, it's so unfortunate, you know, could have been avoided, really could have been avoided, but this is what happens once your mind is not settled. And sometimes it can happen so early on into your test that things would have already gone south even before you get into it. And that was it in this case. So don't forget, leave a comment below if you find this useful, if you want me to do some more videos on West Wickham test route, and if you have any questions as well, leave a comment as well. And don't forget, click the like button please. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel as well. So I'll see you in the next video. One love, stay blessed, peace, and I'm out.